Hello and welcome to Friday Lines. I'm your host, Luke O'Brien, aka OB. Friday Lines is brought to you by Little Birdie TV and topsport.com.au, Punting Form and Manscaped, all your essential items for life. Joining me today for all things AFL is MG. Welcome, MG.
It's OB. Welcome back after a couple of weeks off, freshened up, ready for the finals.
Yeah, Nikki out, I'm back. So just have a spell there, Nikki. I know she's not happy about it, but anyway, we'll move on. And for all things rugby league, the doyen up there is hello to Toprope up in Orange.
Oh, it was good to see you made it north last week. Could have made it a bit further north. We could have had a beer open.
Yeah, I didn't want to go too further north. I just wanted to get into Canberra and get out. That was the moral for the weekend. MG, AFL, 4 weeks to finals. 8th spot is well and truly open. Alistair Clarkson, where's he going to go? There's a bit happening in AFL this week.
Yeah, not as much as rugby league we'll get to in a second. We've had almost a week on the bench, OB, really. I think the final eight's down to 2 spots now. You slightly disagree with me this morning when you walked in, but still giving your Saints a bit of an outside loop there.
Well, look, they'll be in the 8 by the end of the weekend. I think Geelong beat the Bulldogs, and I think Brisbane beat Richmond, and St Kilda will beat Hawthorn. So they'll be in the 8 at the end of the weekend, and just reading the run sheet here, it's down to 2. You've ridden them off. I know no Gresham, no Ryder. Billings is out, but plenty of depth. Hanbury, the great Dan Hanbury is back.
Jeez, three quick tips off the bat there from OB. He's just given half the card away in the AFL. But no, I think it's the ratings. It's not just for this week. It's obviously the 4 weeks to go. So I think it'll be Bulldogs or Richmond, and there's a couple of big games for each team to file out. But yeah, the Saints got too hard to draw from one.
Absolutely. And also Commonwealth Games starting for the next 12 days. Wake up this morning and see that Prince Charles and Camilla Parker Bowles have opened the Commonwealth Games for another campaign. Just a reminder, for $55 in the Little Birdie shop, Toprope's got his Birmingham Blinders. Starts July 28, which is it was last night it started, but the tips will fly in from tonight. Toprope, have you got anything for the listeners? Just a little whet our appetite on a Friday.
Yeah, look, we're going to go with what will be the first event, the first day event. Looking at the triathlon, betting was all wrong. This is absolutely a two horse race between Kiwi Hayden Wild and Englishman Alex Yee. Alex Yee was sent out last night, sent out $3, was $4.60 into $3. Just opened up this morning, $2.30, but won't be losing. He's been all systems go for this. He beat Hayden Wild at the Olympics last year. Has certainly been in Yokohama earlier in the year, so I don't really see anyone outside of the top 2 getting close here on times. Alex Yee will be the man. So $2.30 still a bet. I'll be betting him down towards him.
Would have been nice to give us the $4.60, but anyway, well,
that's what you get. That's what you get for having 2 weeks off, OB.
Yeah, thank you. Is that the triathlon where they have to swim through the sewerage?
Look, I would hope so. I think all triathlons should really be based on the old game show It's a Knockout. So that'd be really nice to see. So. It's clear as pretty and beautiful as you see Birmingham on Peaky Blinders. So it's going to be a sight to behold.
And MG, bit of women's Euro 2022 action, semi-final results. England 4-0 over Sweden. Germany 2-1 over France. The final Monday, 2 a.m. at Wembley. Capacity 87,000, expecting to break the attendance record for a women's soccer game there. As we look at the final odds, for Monday morning, 2 a.m. our time, England 242, Germany 294. The line is 0.5, over under 2.5. Which way you leaning?
Well, England are kicking off with the Commonwealth Games and stuff. The country's obviously up and about, so I think the home team's just got the edge there. But in front of a big crowd should be a cracking game. Both semi-finals and even the quarterfinals were great as well. So been an awesome tournament for the females and warming up for the Men's World Cup later on in the year. Beautiful.
There's always nice to bet on some sport early on a Monday morning. And now, Toprope. Let's not beat around the bush. The NRL this week has had an absolute disaster. North Queensland and West Tigers. Ashley Klein has been dropped. He's been omitted from the bunker. The Manly Pride jumper chaos, another disaster. PVL just backing over comments left, right and centre, disaster. It hasn't been a great week, and then Paul Kent and your mates on NRL 360 also going beautifully. So it's been disaster central and bigot central up there. What do you make of it?
Yeah, well, where do you want to start? We can start with the Cowboys. We can start with the Pride jersey. Where do you want to start? Just
to the listeners, we'll be back in about 10 minutes.
All right. Well, let's start where it all started. We'll start with the end of the Cowboys Tigers game. Tigers absolutely robbed it. That was an absolute debacle. It was classic Ashley Klein. Classic, and absolutely the worst smother job of all time by Graham Annesley on the bunk in the NRL HQ on Monday afternoon. Oh, people all make mistakes. Absolute rot. You could have got 1,000 people off the street, 200 who'd never seen the game of rugby league before and wouldn't have given a penalty. Absolutely insane. And all this, they are held accountable. You can't just go firing referees. Absolute bollocks. If I was as absolutely rotten at my job as Ashley Klein is at his, both on the field and in the bunker, I'd be fired too. So, yeah, enough of this absolute kind of smother job, just like appalling. And it was a failure not only of an individual. Yep, Graham Annesley is exactly right. People make mistakes. Competent people make fewer mistakes. That wasn't noted. Competent people make many fewer mistakes than Ashley Klein does. But anyway, it just showed the failure of the system and how much the bunker has crept into the game. Yeah, there shouldn't have been a challenge there. They were saved by the fact that there wasn't a rule written. Absolute clownish behaviour. But on to the more serious matter, the Pride jersey. I'm always one of the great defenders of rugby league, OB, but the bigoted behaviour of those 7 players, and then those who have the absolute temerity to defend them, it has been sickening, absolutely sickening. And the game's been lucky. They've had players that have had Manly stick by it, even though they did it wrong. That they had Trent Robinson, the Roosters coach, come out and defend it. They've had players like Toby Rudolph and a couple of Dragons players come out and talk about inclusivity. Yeah, it was a jersey about inclusivity, nothing more, nothing less. And to have 7 players pull out some absolute rot. I saw it about them not believing in it, while they're quite happy to believe in the alcohol that sponsors Four Pines Stadium, that they're quite happy to believe in the gambling that sponsors their jersey in PointsBet. It is absolute right. I saw Pam Whaley, former deputy editor of Rugby League Week many years ago, put out a great thing, and cheers. It would be nice if all these players who hold so firm in their beliefs, their religious beliefs about what's right and wrong, came out and took a stand against when a player is accused of domestic violence against a woman, when there's allegations have been made against someone. Like, it never happens. It absolutely never happens. This is absolute right. And it was pleasing to see some in the game stand up for it, because I found the behaviour, particularly on 360, saying that these 7 players have been vilified, utterly disgusting. So I was heartened by the fact that there is some sensible folks in the game and some decent folks in the game.
Look, it was a lot of frivolity and laughter on this show, which is part of it. But Toprope, I think you've summed that up beautifully. Couldn't have said it better myself. Just from the outside looking in, it's AFL, NRL, any sport in Australia is about inclusivity, and anyone can go along. Anyone should feel comfortable. And from what they've done this week is poor. But the way that it's been defended by people in the media, and who'll just let these other players play with it, domestic violence and court cases, hang over their head, it's been astounding. And it's sort of, I've sort of been turned off rugby league a little bit this week. It's been quite disgusting, but really well said there, Toprope, as we sort of look to get back on field here with the Sydney Roosters 20-10 over the depleted Manly Seagulls last night. Crazy betting fluctuations in that game on the back of the 7 players out for Manly. I think the line started at -2.5 and ended up close to 19.5. So what did you make of last night's game?
Yeah, I thought it was probably a game of pride for Manly. I know they've got their issues ahead of them, what they do with those players, and trying to kind of get their final season back on track. They dug in deep last night. They had 7 players coming from a reserve grade team that is last on the ladder. That's won just 2 of 18 games. So they dug in deep. The Roosters took the game far too easily last night. They tried to go around them. They tried to get Leary from the get-go. They were extremely poor, and if they played that way against the full strength Manly side, they would have got absolutely towed last night. The Roosters, they completed at less than 60%. They were reckless with the ball. They clearly weren't switched on from the get-go. So poor performance from the Roosters, but they'll be happy to get away with the 2 points. Manly got the loss, took plenty of heart from it, but their real challenges begin now, and what they do with 7 players who they say is part of the time. They say they respect their decision, but even if you take away all the kind of bigoted behaviour and this notion that it's okay to, because you were brought up a certain way, to believe in something like that's not how racism was perpetrated for many years, or sexism and all that kind of stuff. The fact is that this is a team that's 9th on the ladder. They would have jumped to 8th with the win last night. That their finals campaign this season hangs on the line, and they didn't show up for it because they wouldn't wear a jersey because it had some rainbow colours on it. That's going to be very difficult for those who turned out last night, particularly someone like a Jake Trbojevic who made 36 tackles and had 23 hit-ups and didn't shirk the task at all to get over.
Absolutely. And just while we've got you, the Rocket Mortgage Open, Tony Finau equal leader at 8 under. And the Live tournament is the Is it the Bedminster? With Donald Trump hosting this week. A few interesting comments from Donald. A little bit of golf betting. So just a reminder, topsport.com.au for that. But anyway, you're leaning in those tournaments?
I've got a few rolling for me there. In the Live, I'm all over Bryson, actually. I think he kind of returned to form at the Open Championship. You can put those injuries behind him. This is the course that was actually scheduled to host the PGA Championship this year before it was stripped because of actions during Trump's presidency. But there's been a bit written on it, bit seen of it. Expected to be a long course, so this will suit the drivers. So and the big hitters. So looking at Bryson there, I've got a few rolling in the Rocket Mortgage at Webb Simpson, probably the best from Russell Henley, Matt Kuchar.
Beautiful. As now we look ahead to the weekend's action. It's a great weekend of action. And so now it's time for Friday Lions, brought to you by topsport.com.au, family owned and operated for 35 years. Bet with a bookie you can trust. Bet with topsport.com.au. And the first AFL game for the weekend is an absolute beauty. It's Friday night footy over in the West. It's Fremantle against Melbourne. Fremantle 2.08 against the Demons, $1.76. The line 3.5, over under 143.5. MG, to me on paper, I think they've got the betting wrong in this. What do you make of it?
Yeah, I didn't make. I shaded myself. I just had Melbourne probably where it is. Actually, I thought that 1 to 3 bracket where it is. It opened 1, it's gone to 3 Melbourne. So the support is for the away side at this stage. OB, so you'll be getting a bit more value for your bet. But yeah, Fremantle at home, 6-3 this year, so they've got a pretty solid record defending their home turf. And Melbourne have been definitely inconsistent, haven't they? The last probably 2 months now. I think they've only won 3 of their last 8 games. So
correct.
They're not at crossroads or anything, but geez, they'd want to turn the corner going in. They've got a pretty tough last month ahead, and with their position on the ladder, you can fall quickly with very bunched there. So yeah, big game for both. Obviously fighting out similar spots. Not too much in the stats really. The weather's going to play a big factor here with the forecast not great in Perth. So keep an eye out for that if you're betting any totals or points margins and stuff like that. Because when it rains in Perth, it generally buckets down, so it doesn't leave. There's not many light showers in Perth when it comes. So yeah, 5th against 2nd on the ladder. Obviously, as we said, both playing for top 4, top 2 spots. So big game for this. A bit worried about Fremantle's form as well as Melbourne's. Off a pretty ordinary game last week against Richmond. Probably one of the worst games you've seen in a couple of weeks now, 52 against 52. So hard for me to tip into this game, actually. I think the market's about right, and with the weather, I'm probably just going to watch and see what comes out. But player changes, obviously, for Fremantle lose Fife, they get Lobb back in, Lever comes back in for Melbourne, Tomlinson out. So, Fremantle at home, I can understand where you see the value, but if I was going to bet, I'd probably still lean to the under. I know it's fallen a fair bit from about 150 down to 143, and I'd be backing the tight margins because I don't think there's going to be too many points, and it'll be up for grabs late.
Brett Ratton criticised the surface last week at Optus Stadium. It has been relayed. A huge portion of the ground has been relayed this week, so probably a bit of a slower track with the weather. So the unders look to play there. Also a bit of Brownlow medal head-to-head, Clayton Oliver and Andrew Brayshaw. So that should be a beauty in the midfield. So
Amber Tracker, he's probably still about 5th or 6th on the list at the moment. So big game for that.
Absolutely, and just unfortunate that we have to wait till 8:10 tonight in the Eastern States. But anyway, that's for head office to work out later down the track. NRL action this weekend looks an absolute beauty as well. Toprope. It's the late game tonight. Parramatta 3.25 against the Penrith Panthers, $1.36. The line 8.5, over under 40.5. Parramatta have had a pretty good record against Penrith and the Storm over recent years. Do you give them any hope?
Yeah, I do. Ben, it's good news that you'll be able to watch the first bit, and you never know. Maybe just never turn the channel. This will be such a ripping game. The thing with these games is that they're always low scoring. 12 of the last 14 have gone under. They're always tight. 13 of the last 15 have been decided by 8 or fewer. So I don't understand the betting in this game at all, why it's so big. Parramatta have certainly seen their form fade over the last little bit. Penrith have lost both Crichton and Luai. Yeah, some, possibly me, will probably say there's a positive, but it's going to take some readjustment as to how they play, particularly Sean O'Sullivan coming into the halves. He's very much a Nathan Cleary light. He certainly doesn't play the same kind of game that Jerome Luai plays. So, I think Parramatta with the points here. Absolutely a bet. Numbers kind of come up a little bit over history of under, so I probably want to leave the total, but I'll be taking the plus here. I think Parramatta can win the game.
Ooh, that's good. I will be tuning into this one just before the AFL starts, but then it's straight over to 5:04. Don't worry about that. Another great game this weekend, Saturday night. Geelong against the Western Bulldogs down the highway at the Cattery. Geelong $1.34, the Western Bulldogs $3.25, the line minus 9.5, over under 164.5. Couple of interesting outs for Geelong, Stanley and Tui, although they get Tom Stewart back, and John Segler could be a bit of a wild card come September, while Alex Keith has been dropped by Luke Beveridge. And just a bit of a shout out, Joel Selwood's 350th game, as well as his 300th game with Tom Hawkins as a teammate. I'll tell you what, you don't get much tougher and much better than Joel Selwood, but looks like the betting sort of suggests Geelong. Any hope the Bulldogs?
Yeah, the market's very solid. It actually hasn't moved off its 19 since Monday morning. We've got, as you said, big game, first versus 8th. Bulldogs are obviously, need to probably pinch one of these big games in the one home to beat out Richmond for 8th spot, and Geelong are just going beautifully, won 9 in a row, equal with Collingwood, definitely the form side of the comp, or 1 or 2. It's hard to tip against Geelong down at Geelong. This has been the same for probably 15 years, so you don't want to stray too much from it. So yes, it is hard to tip anyone against Geelong at Geelong. Saying that, the Bulldogs, they've found a bit of form of late with. I know Bruce hasn't done much, but he just helps with the structure. And you've seen Norton and then Hagen last week, one of your faves, kind of step up. And I know Bruce hasn't contributed, but it's more of a structure that Bruce creates to take that second defensive man away and then frees up Hagen. So Geelong will be stretched a bit down there. Being a night game obviously helps them. They play their ground well, shut down. Even though the stats suggest this could be an over game, both teams are very much in the over brackets. At night down at Geelong, they love to shut it down, Geelong. So, I think with points being more of a premium, I think Bulldogs probably would be the way to go at the value at the plus 19.5 if I was to have a pick. Got no real interest in the total here. I think it's about right. As you said, Joel Selwood's 350th game. We had Chris Howe in the office actually organised his boots to be made. So if they get any airtime, that'd be good. So he's got from Asics, I think it is. So he's got special boots for the occasion, so just a shout out there to Chris who organised that. So I just think with Geelong, their head-to-head record, won 4 out of the last 5, 12 of their last 14 against the Bulldogs and down in the category. It's hard to tip against them, but the value's probably just with the Bulldogs at the line.
Beautiful. And the 5:30 NRL game on Saturday has the Sharks at $1.77 And the Rabbitohs 210, the line -2.5, over under 41.5. Top rope, please give me some hope. Give me some hope for the mighty South Sydney Rabbitohs.
What hope do you need, OP? They've been absolutely flying since your man Latrell come back on the scene. Won all 4 games, rolled the Storm and the Eels in that time. Absolutely airborne at the moment. Not only is Mitchell playing well himself, he's certainly getting the best out of Cody Walker. And yeah, they're looking a much better side. I'll be on South here. Not a huge degree of confidence. I think the Sharks are slightly underrated here. They played pretty well against Penrith last week. Short conditions suited, but one of the better bounce-back teams, covered 9 of 11 off a loss. Leaning towards South, they are particularly good off a good defensive showing, covered 7 out of 25 off conceding 12 or fewer. There is a bet here, though, and I will be jumping all over the over in this one on what would be, I'd say, is a relatively low total. Cronulla are a huge over team, 66% over at night, 58% over off a loss. And South, they've gone over the total, 8 of 2 off a win, 57% off a double-digit win, and their points just get rolling. They haven't scored fewer than 24 since Latrell has come back. So you like the over in this one. And we'll be back in South for you there, Robo.
And Dale Finucane, big out for them as well. 2 weeks in the end, I think. I think the NRL wanted 3, but got downgraded to 2, so that's a big loss for the Sharks.
Yeah, he's a huge loss. He's the spiritual leader of that pack, no doubt about that. And just adds a good deal of steel and toughness. I think I think if a club could use him this year, it'd be the Melbourne Storm. They could certainly use him right about now. But the way the Storm are making phone calls trying to get back old players, they probably have put a call in for him as well. The big fella, he's going to be missed this week, and their bench, while they've got plenty of size on it, not so sure on those levels of toughness. So big loss for the Sharks.
Absolutely. As we look to the Sunday 3:20 game in AFL markets, the Tigers $1.77, Brisbane 2.05, the line -2.5, over under 175.5. Brisbane's record at the G is abysmal. They have to win one before the September action comes around, MG. I think this is the game for them. I've jumped off Richmond. I think I'm all in on the Lions on this one. I like them. If they're ever going to win at the MCG, it has to be Sunday, surely.
Yeah, like the call. Yeah, it is. We've spoken about this a few times this year, Brisbane. They've had their chances to get a big scalp down at the MCG and failed. And again, it's teed up for them to get the victory that they need with facing the prospect of maybe 1, 2 or 3 finals down in Melbourne. This is the confidence booster they need. So big game for both here. Richmond, not in sudden death. They've still got the draw to make the final 8. They are now dependent on other sides a little bit. But this is a game they probably can't drop as well. On their current form, they're going to have to find something, I think, to get over Brisbane in this one. I know the MCG hoodoo stands large for them, and I expect a fair crowd here for Richmond because this is all or nothing for their year. They do have a dominant head-to-head record, 13 of 15 against Brisbane, and covered well. But the betting hasn't changed too much. I do lean maybe just for Brisbane. I'd be looking to back the points margins around there or the head-to-head. But the big play in this game's the over, OB. They're both significant over teams, both 12 and 6 on the year, 4 of their last 5. And their last 5 matchups between these two teams when they've played have all gone over as well. So we sent out the play early at over 168.5. Market shifted quite significantly to 175 now. Not sure I can go too much higher, but MCG, good weather again down here. Toprope will be happy to see the sunshine. It'll be nice shorts weather at the G on Sunday, and expect plenty of goals. If they kick straight, they'll put up a total. And I hope Brisbane get the job done.
And Shane Edwards' 300th game for Richmond as well, severely underrated. I think he's a fantastic footballer. Not sure how much longer he's got left in those legs, but he's been a fantastic servant of that football club. So all Richmond supporters get out to the G on Sunday to support him. As we look ahead to the final game for NRL analysis, it's the St George-Illawarra Dragons, $3.10 against the North Queensland Cowboys at $1.38. The line 8 points even, over under 42 points flat. Top rope, which way you're leaning in the Sunday 4:05 p.m. game at Jubilee Stadium?
Sorry, OP, I'm a little bit rattled here. I moved away from Melbourne 10 years ago. I'm not sure I'm more stunned at that the sun's finally coming up. Well, that Shane Edwards is a competent player, but things have certainly changed in a decade. Look, this game, one of the harder games of the round to pick. I'm leaning the over. Big watch on the weather. No certainty to be a clear game, but the Cowboys are big over team on the road. Dragons are a big over team at Cogra, going over 14 to 20 there. I didn't mind the Dragons, but some injuries are kind of starting to take hold there. Look, the Cowboys were very, very poor last week, and they have got an ordinary game in it. They have been a big cover team all year, so not a huge lean either side here, but going to have something small in the over here. As we
look ahead to the rest of the AFL betting markets, Collingwood $1.70 against Port Adelaide, $2.17 at the MCG on Saturday. The line -6.5, over under 160.5. I like the power here. I like them a lot.
Sounds like a little side bet here coming up for us, OB then. I like Collingwood here. I think the markets, they tried to go Port's way. Open 6, went down to 5, quickly back up to 6 here. At the MCG, I think Collingwood are they're rolling. They're finding a way. Obviously, they won 9 in a row. You can't just keep winning. I understand that. But at the MCG, I think Port's season is gone now. And I think Collingwood will get the job done at the MCG and keep rolling.
I think Port might be a sneaky chance for the 8 still. But anyway, we'll leave that alone. Sydney GWS at the SCG, 2:10 on Saturday. A great traditional slot, 2:10 Saturday afternoon footy up there in Sydney. The Swans $1.21. The GWS Giants $4.55. The line -27.5. Over under 169.5. Arguably the Giants' best side they've had in all year, but the Swans are just going beautifully.
Yeah, money for your Giants there, OB, 30 down to 27 with the big ins. I think they had 5 or 6 first players come back in. But yeah, just the different form lines here. Sydney are rolling. They've won 3 in a row now, and the Giants have lost 4 out of their last 5. So I just think another thing where Sydney got too much to play for at home, battle of the bridge, and I just think the Giants are done for the year. Might be a free rolling game a bit. It might not be the normal battle that Sydney and Giants have, but yeah. Not a betting game for me, but I think Sydney will get the job done.
St Kilda Hawthorn is the next game. A bit of bias for me here. Stuck on the fence. The Saints $1.66. The Hawks $2.25. The line -6.5. Over under 167.5. I think the Saints win this and win this by quite a bit. MG.
I'll leave this game to you, OB. You're far more invested than me, but yeah, not a betting game here. I think the market's got it pretty much right on all angles here. The form lines are a bit worrying here with sides that I know you think St Kilda got a still chance for the finals, but I know many of their players have already booked their September holidays. They're not interested in playing around in September. Not a betting game for me here, OB.
And a bit of a danger game for the Blues on Saturday night. The Crows $3.30, Carlton $1.34. The line 17.5, over under 162.5 over at Adelaide Oval on Saturday night. Jack Silvani has been omitted for Pitney to come back in to go to the 2-prong ruck attack. Bit of a danger game here. I don't mind the Crows at home, but Carlton should be too strong. But just watch on this one.
Yeah, watch. There's I can't disagree at the price. The line actually opened around the 13, so it's jumped Carlton's way up to 17 now. It's hard to back Adelaide with even your money, OB. I know you got plenty of it, but yeah, they've lost 10 of their last 12, and their only wins have come against West Coast and Kangaroos, the 17th and 18th side. So it's hard to come into it. Maybe at the line you might find some value, but as for winning the game, Carlton would be shattered if they lost this with what they've got set in the next month. So, yeah, I think Carlton will be strong enough to get the win. Again, not probably a betting game for me here.
As we go to the early game on Sunday, could be the lowest crowd in AFL history. Gold Coast $1.15, West Coast $5.50, the line -33.5, over under 170.5. It's the Who Cares Stakes. Are you watching here, MG? Anything for the listeners out there?
I don't even think Scooty would go to this game with free hospitality up at the Gold Coast there. Shocking game. They tried to hide this, the AFL. I'm surprised they didn't put it on last night to go up against the NRL. But, the money has come for West Coast. 35 is probably a highish line. They've backed West Coast. I'm not sure why. You have got a lot of money if you're investing your pegs in this game. But, yeah, there's much better options this week.
Some good ins for West Coast. And then as we go from one great game to another, it's the Bombers $1.11 against the North Melbourne Kangaroos $7. The line -42.5, over under 170.5. This game is sort of get the kids in the bath early and go to bed, I reckon.
Yeah, it's Richmond and Brisbane or bust on Sunday. They're 2 games either side are shocking. yeah, there's a bit of a who cares stakes as well. All Essendon early, 38.5. They open up to 42, so they're expecting Essendon to belt them. And on current form, they've won 4 out of the last 6. Shouldn't have lost to Collingwood last week. Shocking last minute. So if they've got any steel about them, Essendon going into next year and what happened last week and the criticism they've copped, they should come out and really put a number up on North Melbourne. They are kind of traditional rivals. They don't like each other. So with North Melbourne nothing to play for, I think Essendon could put up a big number this week to pay back.
And a bit of COVID sweeping through the Kangaroos, so a little bit of a watch on selection even later on in the weekend. Keep a bit of an eye on that. As we look at the NRL action for the rest of round 20, the Warriors $4.20 against the Melbourne Storm, $1.24. The line at 12.5, over under 42.5. That's the early Friday night game for start round 20. What are we looking at there, Toprope?
Holy moly, it's do or die for the Storm now. They've lost 4 on the trot. They're definitely a take-on-trust proposition. Luckily, they've got 15 and 16 years of trust built up, so I'm happy to lay the minus here. Only small, not a big bet, but I can't have the Warriors against a good team like the Melbourne Storm.
The early game for Super Saturday sees the Titans against the Raiders. The Titans $2.80, the Canberra Raiders $1.45, the line 6.5, over under 44.5. They're friendless, the Titans, and the Raiders, their best is certainly good enough there, Toprope.
Yeah, I don't often have no bet games. In fact, I never have no bet games, but this is probably going to be as close as I'm going to come. It's very, very difficult. Look, the Titans are a shocking home side at the moment, shocking home underdog. Very poor for bad defensive effort, but the Raiders cannot be trusted on the road. So probably daytime game, good conditions. Yeah, the Titans have an ordinary defence, probably going to back you over at 44.5, but not with a great deal of confidence.
As the late game on Saturday night sees the Broncos up against the West Tigers. The Broncos $1.12, the West Tigers $6.50, the line minus 17.5, over under 44.5. Hopefully it's not another no-bet game for you, Toprope.
Please, don't get 2 in a row. No, this is the opposite of that. This is a chips in job on the over here. 44.5, I think it is a tremendous bet. 2 teams very much in the over. The Broncos are a huge scoring team at Suncorp. The over is hitting 8 straight when they've been favoured, so they can concede a few there. Over, massive spot, and the Tigers are a big underdog. Just get the chips that you've saved from the Titans-Raiders game and put them in this one.
And the early game on Sunday sees the Knights and the Bulldogs. Doesn't look a great game on paper, but it's sort of an enthralling tussle for 2 sort of cellar dwellers. The Knights $2.85, the Bulldogs $1.44. The line 7.5, over under 46.5. Your Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs just getting a little bit bit of friendly money there, Toprope.
Speak for yourself over there. This is a hugely compelling game for a Canterbury fan who hasn't seen a decent game in 5 years. This is the biggest Canterbury have been favourite in the game since 2016. Absolutely astonishing. They've been 4.5 out of the 7.5. No Kalen Ponga for the Knights. Look, it was. I don't know if I was the captain of the anti-Trent Barrett bandwagon, but I was certainly at the front of it. And
you're certainly driving something.
It has certainly proven correct because in the 34 games under Barrett, Canterbury topped 30 once. In the last 5 games under Mick Potter, we've done it 3 times. So covered 3 or 4, playing some wonderful football. We're seeing the best of Matt Burton. Josh had a carve hat-trick. I think the Dogs cover this when the game goes over in good conditions. I think the Knights have considered 40+ in their last 2. I think the toys have well and truly been thrown out of a cot there. They've sported a new football manager. There's a bit going on behind the scenes. Yeah, give me the Dogs here. And I think you can go with a bit of the Ric Flair and get on the 13+, the 19+. I think this is going to be an absolute smash job.
I love it how we finally got Trent Barrett sacked and we're still backing over him. It's beautiful, Toprope. Love it. Love it.
You never know when they're going to get back up. You never know when they're going to go up, OB. So you're going to keep backing over them because you never know when they're going to start getting back up.
Well, just on that, I know we're sort of running out of time, but Nathan Brown has joined the Parramatta Eels as a development coach. Like, come on, give me a spell.
Exactly right. It's rugby league. They can pop up anywhere. Just be careful.
Toprope, thank you. Another great episode. And just a reminder, punters can locate the GGOA for $22 a week in the littlebirdie.live shop for all your NRL betting action. And a reminder that the Birmingham Blinders for all your Com Games betting action is $55 also in the littlebirdie.live shop. Com Games betting action starts tonight. So a reminder about that. Thank you, Toprope. Always great to have you on the show.
What an absolute pleasure to be here, Abby, and wonderful to have you back.
And MG, a reminder that the AFL Stings can be located in the littlebirdie.live shop as well for $22 a week for all your AFL betting action. A couple of little beauties early in the week. So a reminder to listeners to jump in there for all your AFL Stings.
Yeah, a few bets there this week. We've already, I think, sent out 3, so a couple more to probably come.
Beautiful. Well, that's a wrap for this week's Friday Lines. Thanks to MG and Toprope. Thanks to Borco on the panels. You can follow us on YouTube, find us in the Apple Store, on Spotify, on SoundCloud, wherever you listen to all good podcasts. You can follow at Little Birdie TV on Twitter and on Instagram. Remember, all your footy betting action can be found at topsport.com.au. We'll be back next Friday. Nikki will be here on Monday for the first look with all your weekend's action and review. Punt well, punt responsibly, and have a great weekend, punters.